I am exceptionally excited to have our guests today. I know that you guys have all had a chance to see their bios. This is Mr. Jim Brown and Mrs. Janelle Brown. Some absolutely fantastic resources here in our community. These folks are the owners of Brown's Gym up in Clark Summit. But besides being the owners and head trainers and chief cook and bottle washers of that entire establishment, they have an exceptionally long record of training athletes of all kinds, of consulting for different sports, a variety of different disciplines of lifting, especially powerlifting has probably been the central part of what you guys have done for a long time. They are probably some of the smartest people I've ever met. I say probably, definitely.
Oh my God, you guys are gonna be disappointed.
And I'm going to say this from personal experience and professional experience. These folks are some of the finest clinicians I have ever worked with anywhere. And when I say clinicians, what I mean by that, and I'm talking about physicians, psychologists, nurses, doctors, pharmacists, healthcare professionals of all stripes. To me, an excellent clinician has the ability to tailor information to a specific person in a holistic manner without necessarily forwarding their own particular agenda. These folks are models of clinical behavior when it comes to exercise and athletic training. I've been incredibly inspired by them. I hope I can call them friends. Wow. And I really want them to have some excellent questions from you guys. So what I was able to do is I took the questions that you guys submitted, I summarized them a little bit. So I'll kind of get the ball rolling, but I want you guys to talk. I want you to interact. I'd love for you guys to, and I know you guys want to hear from the students themselves. Yes. You're tired of hearing me talk. You've heard me talk way too much.
First of all, wow, thank you.
Yes.
I'm very humbled. That was very sweet. Yeah, I don't even know what to say to that. Thank you. I appreciate that.
Try not to foul this up in the next hour.
I've already warned, so we're very outspoken, and we just tell it the way it is. So he's got a real rough mouth, so hopefully
I was told not to say fuck, so.
So let's get that out of the way right now.
So I'll put it this way, you guys, everybody's real people here. We're going to interact and we're going to talk like real people. You know, pharmacy school be damned for a few minutes. So is that fair? Cool. You guys be cool with me? Excellent. So I don't know if you guys want to say a little bit more about your background, and then we'll kind of get into some of the questions that people wanted. I'm just going to.
I'll let you go for it.
So our backgrounds, our sport that we compete in is powerlifting. We have backgrounds in other sports as well, and we've been doing this. I've been doing this. Oh shit! I've been doing this since 1976. So, what's that?
They don't even know what that is.
46 years.
Yeah, it's a long time to be doing it. So I'm 57 years old. I started when I was 11 years old when I started doing this. You guys are too young to remember the original Incredible Hulk, Lou Ferrigno.
Somebody in their question asked about Arnold Schwarzenegger and Incredible Hulk. I don't know who that was, but
yeah, it wasn't Arnold.
Submitted
it was Lou
a question.
Ferrigno. I was 11 years old when that was on TV, and that was what inspired me to start lifting weights. I was an incredibly small kid. I think I weighed 115 pounds when I graduated high school. Shit, I was only about 5'2". I didn't even grow till I was 23. So, you know, sports were not really in my future. I was too small for every damn thing. So eventually I discovered, you know, weightlifting and powerlifting, and they had weight classes, and midgets fit in well there. So I got a sport. And that's where I fell in love with, and that's where I've been since. I discovered in 1992 that I was a terrible employee. I was going to get fired if I didn't go start a business of my own, so that's what we did. And I started Brown's Gym. So we've been in business 30 years now. We've handled tens and tens of thousands of customers since then. I think we're right now at nearly 90,000 people we've run through our gym. Yeah. So in that time, we've had some really cool experiences. Been U.S. head coach for our IPF World teams for powerlifting for, Jesus, we got to have close to 20 teams by now we've done.
It's been a lot.
Yeah, it's been a lot. We've been all over the world. I never thought, when I was a kid growing up, like that we'd end up all over the world, but we did. And all I do is follow something I loved. Your turn.
I don't even know what to add. So I started I just wanted to be in shape. I wanted to do fitness shows. And so that was where I was going to go until I met him. And he's like, well, you need to do powerlifting.
Because that's what we do in my house.
Powerlifting is. I went to my first powerlifting meet and I was the only girl who competed. There was no female athletes whatsoever. There was no female athletes to even look up to or to see, well, am I doing good? Am I strong? Am I just like whatever? I only trained with guys. So I didn't know that maybe I shouldn't have been able to lift what I lifted because they didn't hold me down at all. You were squatting maybe 600 pounds at the time.
Yeah.
His training partner was squatting 800 pounds and I'm squatting like 135. And we had to, we took turns. I had to take all the weights off the bar on my side, put them all back on for him, take them all off, put them back on. And that was just, something that I didn't know any better. Like, okay, this is what I do now.
Honestly, I think changing the weights on and off is what made her
That's
strong.
what made me strong. Like, there's no doubt. You handle 600 pounds every day, peeling it on and off the bar. If you don't get strong, something's wrong.
Well, at this point, you've competed in multiple international tournaments, world level tournaments, or tournaments probably.
So I am currently the Masters World Champion. I am training now to go back and win another title. So I'm not going to say if, when I win, this would be my third world title. I have 11 powerlifting national championships, and I have 5 North American championships.
Yeah.
And that's all from a girl who couldn't even squat the bar when I started. So there's no telling what you're capable of doing. Just get in the gym and just do what you think you're capable of, and then do more. Never be satisfied.
So I want to make sure you guys are asking questions, but I'll kind of start this by saying a lot of folks ask the questions about how do you get started, and I think you just kind of started addressing that. Are there any thoughts or tips, or what mistakes do you see people making when they're first potentially starting on an exercise or a fitness journey?
I think the biggest thing is if you go into a gym, so many people are afraid of going in because maybe you don't know anything. I didn't know anything. I went in, I was like, all right, there's a picture on the machine. This is apparently what I'm supposed to do. And don't be afraid to ask for help, but ask from reliable sources. The trainers at the gym, they're there for a purpose. They're very educated, especially where, our place, we're very committed in making sure that our trainers are top of the line, can handle your questions, can not handle you with kid gloves, but make it so it's an experience that you guys enjoy. If you go in there and you're not enjoying the experience, you're just not going to come back.
Yeah. So I would say when you're starting out exercising and you don't really have a direction of what you want to do, don't be afraid to try everything. Because exercise is, there's a reason why there's yoga and there's aerobics and there's powerlifting and swimming and people who run. It's because they found something they fell in love with. Okay? If you don't like it, you ain't gonna do it. So search through everything. Find the stuff that you liked, the stuff you didn't like, discard it and move on.
And we've done that ourselves.
Yeah.
Like we went into CrossFit and we did CrossFit. I hated it. Like I competed in it.
It hurts my soul.
I hated it so much. There's a level of just, maybe you just hate yourself. I don't know why you do it.
The level of suck is so bad.
So we're like, okay, I gave that 5 years. I'm like, I'm out of this. I'm gonna go back to powerlifting. I did bodybuilding, and I always come back to always come back to powerlifting.
Yeah.
But you don't just have just one thing that you can be love or be good at. Like try everything so you can find what you like.
Yeah.
There were a lot of questions about kind of what's better, cardio or weights, CrossFit or, you know, other things.
Who had that question?
Probably a lot of folks.
Put your hand here. Come on.
Come on, guys.
They're not
Oh,
gonna
you guys suck.
There we go. Come on.
The answer to that question is if you like it, it's the right one for you.
Yeah. If you love doing cardio, that's what you love to do. That's what you do.
like.
If you love running, run. If you love CrossFit, do that. If you love powerlifting, do that. Do something that you like, you enjoy. Because if you don't enjoy it, Dana, if I tell you, listen, this is what we're gonna do, and you have to run every day, are you gonna love that?
Not so much.
No, and you're not gonna stay with me at all.
Fire the
Probably not as
coach.
much. I'll do it a little bit. But so I think what I'm hearing you say, and hopefully what you guys are hearing, is that there's no necessarily one perfect thing. There's no one perfect exercise.
Yeah.
There's nothing that's inherently superior to one thing or another. Probably
Right.
depends on your goals.
So
Right.
in a classroom setting, you guys are getting taught stuff that are right and wrong answers. So you get a test. It's got a question on it, and the teacher's expecting a certain answer for that. And in life, it doesn't turn out that way. In life, you become a decision maker. There's no right and wrong answer to it. So you're trying to make decisions that best fit yourself with that.
And what works for one is not necessarily gonna work for someone else.
Right. You're going to run across clinical stuff where you were taught this in school, and that answer is not fitting that patient exactly, and you have to make another decision to go a little different route to get the needs of that patient taken care of.
I think that's the best thing I could probably, if you guys hear nothing but that message, that's wonderful. I want you guys to ask some questions. So again, I have these sort of, put together, but what kind of things are on your mind?
Silence. Oh, okay.
Beautiful.
Okay, so like when wanting to get into like working out and everything, you see influencers and everything, they go to the gym 5-6 times a week.
Shut that shit off first.
Well, as a student, like, I'm like, you're lucky to make like 3-4 times kind of thing, because, you have an exam that week, or you work, a lot of us work and stuff like that. How would you start, getting into working out without a set routine or schedule?
It
So I
depends-
was- go
yeah,
ahead.
well, it depends on what your goal is. So figure out what your goal is first. And then how much time do you legitimately have to offer that goal? So if you're working, if you're going to class 4 to 5 days a week, you're working, 3 to 4 days a week, how much time do you have in the day to go work out? If you have 20 minutes, perfect. Like, you don't need an hour, 2 hours, 3 hours. If you're sports specific, you might need a little bit more time, but if you're just generally just want to get in there, work off that stress, 20 minutes, whatever you love to do, that's what I would, that's what you could do. And then you could break it down into, weightlifting, cardio, CrossFit, where do you want to, what line do you want to be in?
Let me ask you this, what kind of time window do you have? You're already short on number of days. So what kind of time window do you have when you do get to go to the gym? Yeah, 20 minutes, you got 2 hours, what do you got?
I usually set an hour.
Yeah, now.
So, go a little bit over, an hour, that's fine, but I usually try to give it a window of an hour.
Okay. How much rest time do you take between sets?
I don't know, I do a mix of cardio and more, I'm not really doing powerlifting.
It doesn't have to be powerlifting. If you're doing stuff with weights, how long between sets?
I don't know, a minute or 2.
Oh, good, okay.
You're
'Cause
not one of those that is on your phone, sitting on the machine.
We all know those
waiting.
people.
I hate that, someone's on their phone, on the bench more than they are actually touching the bar.
Right.
So,
If you some point during your workout are opening your phone to see what's on your phone, you're fucking this up.
it does have to change the
Okay.
song,
Okay.
But I would go in there, if you have something specific, if you are weight training, if you have so many days a week, maybe one day get a full body workout in, another day get an upper body, and then another day get a lower body. That's at least 3 days, and you're getting, everything pretty much covered, and then hit a little bit of cardio in on those days.
And if you keep that cycle going where she's going upper, lower, if you got 3 days this week and 3 next, you still hit upper 3 times and you still hit lower 3 times in a 2-week cycle. That make sense? Yeah. Okay. So I was asking about the time zone beforehand. One, because it drives me nuts. I think that the worst thing that ever happened to working out is tripods. I go through the gym and I'm so tempted to kick them every place I go. It kills me. But I find people resting 10, 12, 15 minutes between sets. And when you ask them why, they have no idea why. Does anybody know why you're resting between sets? Oh my God, this is a pharmaceuticals class, isn't it? Come on, you guys are all going to fail. Your teacher's here.
We got a couple of hands.
Go ahead.
I would say some time for your muscles to recover.
Well, what are you waiting for? What's waiting to recover? He's itching with the answer over there. So you
can have it.
To get the lactic acid out of your muscles.
No, you're waiting for the ATP stores to rebuild themselves. That's what you're waiting for.
He's like, yes.
Okay? So, this ATPs, anybody know what that is?
Y'all better know what
You
that
better
is.
know what that is,
Y'all better know
okay? So, ATP is the chemical reaction that actually, the chemical that allows cellular contraction to happen in a muscle. So, when you get the end of a set, and you've kind of got to the end where you've failed at the end of the rep count, what has happened is your ATP stores are gone. They've used themselves up for that particular weight. Now, you could use a lighter weight, and the ATP stores will last longer. How long does it take for the ATP stores to rebuild themselves? Anybody know? About 75 seconds. So I ask again, what in the fuck are they waiting for? 20 minutes? I don't understand. They have no idea what they're doing. There's watching so many answers from the outside world, from social media stuff, from so-called influencers. They have no idea why they're doing what they're doing, and you're taking answers from them. Look into yourself. Read into your own stuff. Find out what you need. Okay?
So I think a lot of you guys had questions about, how many sets, how many reps, lighter weight versus heavier weight. Is there anything, in terms of lighter weight versus heavier weight? A lot of people ask questions about toning muscles.
I hate that word. Don't use it.
So why wouldn't you use it, and what's kind of a better phrase or a better way to express what people are looking for with,
I find the word toning to be such a generic word that doesn't tell me anything. It almost, to me, is from having done this for so many years, it almost looks lazy to me. Like, can I have a workout that I don't really have to work hard? I just want to tone. Fuck off and get away from me. We came here to work hard. Let's go make some goals. Let's make this happen.
I think toning came from back in the 70s and 80s.
Yeah.
And it was used for us women because
Got the
women
itch,
don't want
touch
to
a
have
weight.
muscle. They don't want to get big. They don't want to look like a man. And I think that's where that comes from. And unfortunately, it's still, somehow it's
there.
still out there. And we can't find a way to discard it.
So to go back to the question of high reps, low reps, heavy weights, light weights, again, it's what you chose to do. It's what your end goal is that you wanted to meet. If you're trying to do something where you would like to make the muscles look harder, you'd like to make them look fuller, you're going to stick with something higher repetition. But you've also got to do something to make the muscle bigger. If you make a small muscle hard, it's still small. It don't matter. You got to do something to make it bigger. So you're going to mix heavier weights in and some lower reps to do that. I would also, I'm going to rephrase what I was going to say. I was going to say I would characterize where I would use that amongst an age group, but I would not. I train my elderly patients the same as I would as my my 17-year-old kid that I'm getting ready for high school nationals. I train them the same. I train women the same as men. Nobody thought they'd read that one, did you? We are still the same human being. Male or female, we're still the same human being. How old is Frank now? 84, 85?
I have no idea. He's in his 80s.
So we have a gentleman at the gym. He has been lifting weights. I don't know how long he's been lifting weights. He was on the cover of Leatherneck magazine in 1957. Yeah.
I feel like that's an accomplishment
Still going.
that I would very much like to have on my resume, but isn't going to
Yeah.
happen.
So if you guys don't know what Leatherneck magazine is, it's the Marine Corps' magazine. So he made the cover of the Marine Corps magazine in 1957. He was on the Olympic lifting team for the Marines, 52 on up, I think. So here we are, 2023. He is still competing. I believe he's 85 this year. He's been through several surgeries. He's had some small cancers taken off, like all the typical things that happen as you get older. He's done the maintenance to keep taking care of himself.
But,
Still back in the gym.
and he's on no medications.
No medications
Zero.
at 85.
No blood pressure, no cholesterol medication, like 0 medications.
157 pounds, he'll still deadlift 365. He'll still squat that. He'll still bench a world record anytime he wants.
So going,
He's outlived the age groups. The age groups only go to 79. He's outlived them.
Is it fair to ask, have you guys had encounters, and this is an incredible story, encounters with folks who have come in with sort of the classic, I call it Americanitis conditions, so high blood pressure,
Oh, God.
Cardiac disease, diabetes,
Yes.
et cetera, et cetera, et
Yes.
cetera, that just
Yes.
about everybody seems to have out in the world. Have you been able to witness folks reversing some of that through, dedicated exercise potentially, or not only dedicated but sustained exercise over time?
absolutely.
It's a tough road to get them started, because when you get those types of patients, and at that point they're not gym members, they're patients. So you have to do some of the basics on them. Sometimes it's right down to, I have to teach them how to walk correctly before I can teach them how to exercise. So you're overweight, you've got diabetes from it, your cardio capacity is non-existent. Their knees have changed shape over the years of being heavy for so long. Hips are wore out, their backs are wore out. They've never seen an ab exercise. So even their posture is wrong. And you have to start with walking, posture, basic human fundamental movements before you can ever start with exercise. I can't get them to walk right now, all I'm going to just hurt them. So once we get past that, then we can start approaching the other stuff.
Gotcha. So folks that kind of come in and say, oh, I want to start a gym program, but I couldn't work out for 2 hours and I couldn't lift all the weights I could do
Right.
when I was 22, and get discouraged from that, should really have potentially dialed back a
Yeah,
lot
you-
of that
yeah.
potentially unrealistic expectation.
Yeah,
for
come in
themselves.
and, if you can only walk on the treadmill or get on the bike and just, that's what you have to start with, that's what you start with.
You just made me think of one of the funniest things I've heard over and over again through the years. I just want to lose this baby fat. So how old is the baby? Oh, he's 19 now. It's like, lady, that's your fat. That's not baby fat.
Not the baby's fault anymore. All right, you guys, what else? I've got your questions here, but I want to hear from you guys directly.
Yeah.
So we've talked a lot about starting from the beginning.
Yes.
Say you're somebody that's been working out for a little bit
Yeah.
and you feel like you've hit a plateau and you keep doing different things and trying new things out, but you still see like very minimal progress, if any at all. Is there any good ways to kind of get over that
So
plateau?
first of all, I would say welcome to reality.
Yeah.
When you first start, your gains are big. Everything's easy. You just showed up to the gym the next day and you were stronger. that goes away at a certain point. You get to a point where you've kind of gotten to what the basic human capacity is capable of without doing more extreme stuff. So I use something called compensatory acceleration training to get my people through that. So has anybody heard that term, CAT training? So compensatory acceleration training.
This is his favorite thing to talk
I
about.
love this, because this is the freaking secret to life as far as I'm concerned.
Everybody pay attention. This is important. I'm seriously got to pay attention to this.
So you do some of this?
Oh, I do?
Yes.
Yeah.
Oh, okay.
Yes, you do.
You've already been doing this
Oh,
with me for
well,
the
that's
last
good.
couple of years and let you know. So what is the limiting factor of a muscle getting stronger?
Were we going back to the ATP regeneration?
No, think a little deeper than that. So what actually determines the strength of a muscle?
Oh, just give it to them.
The amount of cells within the muscle?
There is some truth to that. The myofibular content that comes in later. That doesn't happen until after the heavy weights have started to come and the muscles have started to get thicker. But prior to that, you got to do something to make something more happen before you can get to adding more myofibular content. Does that make sense? Okay. So the nerve signal speed is the determining factor of the strength of a muscle. So in every tendon is something called the Golgi tendon organ, GTO, Golgi tendon organ. And every tendon in your body has this. Does anybody know what the job of the Golgi tendon organ is? Okay. So the nerve signals run through that Golgi tendon organ. And when that Golgi tendon organ starts sensing that the nerve signal speed is getting close to 100% of its nerve signal speed, the Golgi tendon organ shuts it off. So I'm sure most of you have experienced where you've done a set, and as you're in the middle of the set, or towards the end of the set, I should say, the muscle just shuts off. You failed at the lift. Were you injured? What happened? Freaking GTO gave up on you. Done. Shut it off, right? So that's the body's built-in protective measure to keep you from injuring yourself. Well, this some bitch is going to get in the way of it, making me not injure myself every time. How the hell am I going to get any stronger? So you have to do something to desensitize the GTO to get nerve signal speeds to happen faster. Okay. So we use compensatory acceleration training to do that. And what we want to do is try to drive the muscle, or drive the bar as fast as you can through a range of motion in a measured time period. Okay? Now, I'm at 100% nerve signal speed. Golgi tendon organ is going to shut that thing off again. But it's also, the Golgi tendon organ is also looking for a feel of the weight. So if the weight is feeling like it's at 100% of its capacity, and it's getting this max nerve signal speed message, it shuts off. But if we use a weight, say 47% of your 1 rep max, and we drive it at 100% speed, we got 100% nerve signal speed, but the GTO is a little bit confused because there was no heavy weight in it. There was no heft in
So
it.
give him an example. So long story short, because he could go on forever. So you have a barbell that's 135 pounds.
Okay.
The force that goes against the barbell.
Because I'm talking to you guys, like, what's your favorite lift to do?
Probably bench.
All right. So what's your 1 rep max on a bench?
Around
Poor guy's
It doesn't matter.
the whole class.
Make it up. The girls won't know. And lie big at 100. What is it?
250.
All right. So if we gave you 47%, we'll call it 50% just to make the math easy, so it's 125, right? If you took 125 pounds and drive it up with 250 pounds of force, how much force did you make? You guys are supposed to be smart.
The amount you
250.
250.
Right? If you took the 125 pounds and you just comfortably go through it, and you're given 15, 20 pounds of effort more than the bar weight. How much force did you create? 15, 20 pounds more than the bar weight, right?
You're only putting the
So
force
it was
against the thing.
useless. It was a useless exercise at that point. And that works with every exercise. So if you handle you can handle a lightweight with maximum force. When you get to handle 250 one day, you're already trained to handle it. But say you did, in a competitive acceleration training for a bench, we would do 12 sets of threes with it. So you made an cumulative of 36 reps of 250 pound force reps. You think you could make 36 reps with 250 without breaking something? No,
But the force is there.
but the force was there.
So you're training that tendon
Right.
at that force level.
Right. You're training the nerve signal speed at that 250, and eventually you'll just keep desensitizing that GTO to let you go up higher and higher. And you'll actually can do it to the point where the GTO will never shut off. Hence,
So you don't want
this is
to-
what you do when the GTO doesn't shut off. You tear the tendon off the bone. Now, that's a little longer story. That was hurt for a year and a half before it actually tore off. I wasn't really listening.
Yeah, so when you go into now, you go into bench or squat or deadlift or whatever. Don't necessarily think about, okay, this is 250 pounds. I'm just going to put in my effort at 250. Like, you want, if it's 250, put in 300 pounds of effort. If it's 300, put in 350 pounds of effort. So
You
you
make
want
this-
more effort to go against the barbell than you're actually doing.
Make
And
up the
then
number you want and make it true.
That's what's going to make those plateaus,
Yeah.
breakable.
So if I may, this also I think goes to the issue of sort of heavier weights versus lighter weights,
might-
more reps
I
versus
needed
less
that
reps.
Right.
It's an entirely additional component to that equation, if you will, and that has to do with the effort, which I think is really fascinating and probably something you guys haven't heard before. And I guess you're right. I guess we have been doing that, and I
Yeah.
just didn't recognize it
So
for
it
what it is.
doesn't,
So.
and it goes without saying, like, you cannot handle heavy weight all of the time.
No.
Your body's just
gonna
not going
break
to
down.
be able to handle it. So there's a reason why we work with percentages, and we play around with reps, we play around with sets, and there's no giving correct rep scheme or sets. Like, if I feel this day I have 5 sets of 15 in me, that's what I'm going to do that day. Like, that's the effort I'm going to give. But if I don't have it that day, okay, I'm going to go 8 to 10. And that's cool. That's fine. Maybe I'm going to use heavier weight then. Does that make sense?
That will not work if you're running a mesocycle, though. If you're running a mesocycle to peak for
Well,
a
powerlifting is
contest-specific day.
complete, like, we're just talking in general,
Yeah.
to use weights. We're not, listen, if we wanted to talk powerlifting, we want to make you stronger. We are so set specific, rep specific, day specific, where we want you to get to a certain level. But if you just want to be like, I just want to be in good shape and I want to look good naked. Well, because that's what we all want.
I want her
Who
to
doesn't want that? Everybody wants it. Just see, Julie, I saw. I
Yes.
always do this to you. I'm sorry, Julie.
I just want to know what your bests are for each lift. I find it intriguing.
Our best what?
The lift, the bench, the squat.
I didn't
wanna
hear
know
the first part of the question.
What's your PR for each? I'm just interested.
Squat 7. Best one I did that was a 7:15 or 7:30. I can't remember which. But in recent time, I've not had a chance to max this out. I set a world record now. The 700 plus one is with squat suit and knee wraps. So if we take that out of the equation, because that's hard for people to imagine, and just do what's called raw, no knee wraps, no knee sleeves, no squat suit, nothing like that, just belt and wrist wraps. 600 triple is my best at 194 pounds. And that was recently. That was last summer, 2 summers ago.
About that,
Yeah.
I think.
I did a world record squat at 617 about a year before that, and frankly, I think when I did that 600 triple, I was probably good for about 655, and I was super light. I could have been up to 205 pounds of body weight, and I was only 194. Best bench, I believe, is a 531 in the gym and a 501 in contest. And my best deadlift, I think, is a 6'11", something like that. Wait till you hear hers.
Oh yeah, just wait.
Now this is at 123 pounds.
I'm not impressive.
You are wildly impressive.
So we compete in both unequipped, where it's just your belt and wrist wraps, and equipped lifting, which is a squat suit, knee wraps. So raw. So I'm just getting back into raw, and my best raw squat's 275, bench. I think raw was like 165 for triples, and deadlift I hit a 375. In equipped lifting, which is how powerlifting actually started, so that's where our main is. I hit an unofficial world record of 440 squat, a 205 bench, and what is my 369 deadlift? So I deadlift more without the suit, just in a belt, and I don't know why that is. It's weird, but. So for my age category now, I have unfortunately just hit 50 years old. So it's a little different than the opens, but the World Championships is in Mongolia, and the goal is to compete twice in the same week. So in the first half of the week, I'll be competing raw. The world record squat is 286, so I would like to beat that. And then later on in the week, I like to go for the current world record in my age division is 369 squat, so I would like to take that.
So if you guys ever think about beating me up, I have friends who will
Yes, we're friends.
hopefully come to my defense here. Like think second about about jumping.
Absolutely,
Yeah, they're
we're all
They're
friends.
gonna laugh when the midgets come to back you up, right?
So wildly impressive. What other questions you guys had? There was questions about recovery. People were really curious about what to do to recover effectively, whether things like saunas or ice baths or supplements were worth it in terms of recovery.
Personally, I stay away from ice. If you have an inflammatory response, that's the body's way of healing. So I am all about let that happen. I don't stop that. I'm gonna actually hit the hot tub and do it that way. Saunas before you work out, sure, warm up, but I don't know. We don't really do
Yeah, we don't do any of that stuff.
a lot of that stuff.
Yeah.
But honestly, when you're lifting, you're not building anything. You're tearing down muscle fibers. So the best way to heal is food. Like number one, like if your nutrition is on point, if you're sore, you didn't eat enough, you didn't eat well enough.
Who's using a food scale? Weigh out your stuff. Only person in the room knows what her nutrition is.
Yeah,
The rest of you are guessing.
yeah.
Don't guess at your nutrition. Know what you need. We scale everything that we eat, including what our dogs eat.
Yeah, sadly.
There were a lot of questions about. Oh, sorry.
Yeah.
Go ahead, Julia.
I just want to know what kind of dog you have.
Oh,
Pitbull Chocolate Lab.
we have dog fans.
Generally powerlifters too.
No, they think everybody's there to feed them.
Yeah, right?
Our dogs eat like powerlifters.
So there were a lot of questions about nutrition for sport, exercise, and so on. Did I miss a hand?
Yeah, we had right here.
I'm so sorry. Go ahead.
I was just wondering what your thoughts are on like bulking, cutting, the 1 gram per pound protein stuff.
I'll let the nutritionist answer this one.
Okay, because it's just kind of hard to sort out like influencer stuff and then also like the basic daily requirements from like.
That I taught you, and I spent a while teaching.
First, stop listening to the influencers. Listen to your professor.
Well, and of course.
That's for like more like an average person.
Yes.
But if you're really trying to be more, not quite a competition level, but like somewhere in between, it's kind of hard to know what you're supposed to be doing.
The formulas are the same. So if you still use those formulas, do the calculations. Depending on what you want to do, if your calculation comes up, say it's, you're supposed to have 1,700 calories, say, but you want to gain weight, gain muscle, add 100 calories, add 200 calories to that. and then take your percentage of your protein. I always figure out my protein first. So right now, you know, I'm 123 pounds, but I'm taking in 170 grams of protein. I'm taking in 160 grams of carbs, and then I will fluctuate between whatever, you know, if that day I'm gonna have a lower carb day, I'm gonna have higher fat, and vice versa. So there's so many different ways to change it. It's not necessarily a pound, figure out a gram per pound. Like that's, you could do that, but I would actually go up a little bit if you want it. Like that's an easy way to do it, but I would go 1.5 to 2 grams. Like I would not be afraid to do that.
Another aspect to that might be your workload. So
Correct.
if you're just destroying yourself, you need to increase the protein portion of it. If you're not, you do not. So in a textbook, they give you, knowledge like that because you're typically the information you're being given in school is for the general population and at this point in time has become so sedentary or geriatric based, even if they're not geriatric of age, that those answers are safe answers for those people,
Right.
not for athletes.
So we could be the same size, same height, same age, same everything, but the calculations may come out the same. But my nutritional needs are going to be more than what you need, and it's still. I mean, you still play around with it. You know, you still play around and have to make changes to what your needs are currently.
And if I may add to this, what I think you're all expressing this wonderfully, which is we've talked about what people need kind of as a baseline, but we never really got a chance to talk about, and what this is leading into is the idea of optimization for a particular goal or for a particular body size, shape, etc. There's a big difference between being, you know, adequate and being optimal. I don't think the science is not nearly as developed
Yes.
with regard to optimization. We have great science on what's adequate. We don't have great science on what's optimal for different things, which varies by discipline, varies by all of those types of things.
And how many of you guys are using supplementation? So let's even go there.
Yeah.
Because it's, there's really not enough studies done on different supplementations, on proteins, on creatine, and on glutamine. And, you know, we get asked all the time, well, what do we take? Well, first of all, if you're not doing the work in the gym, and eating well, no matter what supplement you take, is not going to get you
Will not
to
make up for lack of
where
eating
you
well.
think you want to be. Like you can't, it will never happen. So if you're not, I always tell everybody first, if you can get all of your macros through food, go through food. Get all, and it's a lot of food. If you try to eat 160 grams of protein, it's a lot of freaking chicken. It's a lot.
It's like a lot of chicken.
It's a lot, but it's not just chicken. It's chicken, it's steak, it's salmon, it's, you know, you want whole foods. The people that have a really hard time getting that in, yes, can you go to supplements? Absolutely. You can go to protein powders. But did you ever calculate your grams of protein? It'll say, okay, this is 20 grams of protein. Well, is it really, or is there a lot of filler in there? Like, is it 20 grams and 100 calories? Or like, you know, do that math on there. Make sure you're getting, you guys all know how many calories it is for protein, so you can do the math, figure out, are you getting what you're supposed to be getting?
Did you understand what she said there? If you did the math there? So protein being 4 calories per gram times 20 should have been 80, but in the calorie count it said it was 100.
Where are those other
What
calories
did those
coming
other
from?
20 calories come from? You know, was it a filler they had in the product for it?
So that's something you know, read your labels. You want the least amount of stuff in there as possible. But what I currently do is I have a protein powder, creatine, and glutamine. If I can only afford one of them, you want to guess which one I want? I want glutamine.
Yes.
Yeah, I want glutamine. I can get my creatine from my food. I can get my protein from my food. But the glutamine, not only is that help repair, it's also really good for your digestive tract. So
Do you guys remember what cells use glutamine and arginine as a direct source of energy? Anybody remember? What? Well, it's the cells that line your small and your large intestine, so your enterocytes. Absolutely. But what other questions would you guys like to ask? Yes.
What are your thoughts on pre-workout drinks?
I don't take them at all. I'll have a cup of coffee if I need it.
Think about just what the basis of what a pre-workout is. So for some of you that have never taken a pre-workout, it's a stimulant drink. So, what is what is it you're based on to do that? You're
You
doing
guys
it to help
know?
hype you up for the workout,
It's
right?
our
So you know
favorite
you're taking some sort of
substance.
stimulant.
Yeah, I think you have one over here.
It's our favorite substance, guys. Our favorite substance. It's not this
Well,
particular
but you're looking
substance.
like that's something with caffeine, but when they have, when they have other types
Yeah.
of stimulants that are actually
I
close
mean,
to
if you're getting
amphetamines.
itchy, I
Yeah.
mean, if you're taking something, you're getting itchy, you're getting red, like you guys know what I'm talking about, right? Yeah. Right,
Yeah,
right.
well, and it also could be niacin. So
So-
you get what's called a niacin flush, where your skin turns red and you start to itch everywhere. You know it's actually niacin poisoning, right? The nice word is niacin flush, but it's actually niacin
You
poisoning.
guys remember we talked about that. We did.
So I would just be, and then you have people that have so much of that stuff. Like I would just be very cautious in taking it. Like I won't, obviously.
Have you ever tried different foods as a pre-workout?
No.
So one of my favorite things to do before a workout is eat an avocado. We're expecting that,
It's
weren't
just
you?
weird. Yeah, it's just weird.
So,
But it's the right kind of sugars and fats that the body wants. It's easily digestible, doesn't sit heavy in my stomach.
I'd love to end on the question that I think that is probably the simplest but the hardest to answer,
Okay.
which is, what does it mean to be healthy?
Oh Lord.
Somebody asked this question. I thought it was a wonderful question, so simple and so direct.
Yeah.
But
I remember reading it, and I
I
thought
know,
the
and I
same
still
thing.
don't.
Like,
I
holy
still don't know how to
shit.
answer that because there's different levels of health. There's people like myself that actually need, medication to keep me healthy. My blood work is perfect. Everything's always perfect, but I have UC. I have something that's, nobody knows why this happens to, individuals. Your immune system is incredibly interesting, to say the least.
It is.
Have you
But-
guys? I'm sorry.
Go ahead.
Have you guys heard of something called the health continuum?
So this is something that
I think I
I don't know if
actually,
everybody can see.
yeah, I think I have a dry erase if that one.
I got it marked. So if you take a scale like this, and this is going to be 100% healthy, dead. So there's factors that are going to put you on different places of the scale. So she's 50, she's halfway through life.
God.
She might be a little closer to this, I'm not sure.
No.
Wow.
I'll make her go this way a little bit. So, I've already revealed that she has UC. That puts her a little closer over here. There's something wrong. You're overweight. It keeps bringing me this
I'm
way.
not overweight.
I'm not talking about you, Ness. I don't know about you. Good, so you're overweight, leads to diabetes. Now, this is, we're leaning to this side of the scale over here, right?
So if you already have those issues on this side, and now you get sick,
COVID happened. And you only had this distance from here to here to save yourself. Now you know what happened with COVID. If you guys, you're 22, 23, whatever you guys, you're clear over here. Young, healthy, great shape, no high blood pressure, nothing. COVID happened. It bumped you down to here. You guys don't even, shit, I didn't
does that
miss
make
class.
sense?
That make sense? This would be probably a best way to describe healthy in my eyes, because it's not necessarily just an age thing. It's all those factors added into it that made you healthier now.
But I really feel like I'm on this side.
I would agree that you
Okay.
were definitely
What
on
day is
that.
Yeah,
today?
like he's put me on the I got a foot in the grave already.
I'm thinking today's Thursday, right? Saturday night I might want to get lucky, so I'm gonna
A little further, come on. A little further.
Wow. We're gonna edit that all out.
Awesome. Well, my apologies,
Yes.
guys. It looks like
We
you
get
guys
thrown
are
out?
ready
Yes.
for your next class. Please join me in thanking these two wonderful people. If folks are interested, have questions, I'm happy to put you guys in contact. These are some of the most generous people I've ever had the pleasure of interacting
Yes,
with.
come and work out with us.
And they took a scared middle-aged lady and turned me into a powerlifting competitor, which is just the wildest thing I could ever imagine doing.
And she will be competing in just a couple weeks, so.
Yes, I will. You guys are welcome to come. It's
Just
actually at
to
their
put a
place.
little pressure on her, she doesn't know this yet. She's going to nationals in June, just doesn't know it
Yeah.
yet.
Is that for real?
Yes.
I'm going to national powerlifting competition. This is like what I've always wanted to have on my tombstone. It's all going to be a thing. So.
Can't put it on your tombstone unless you win.
Oh, okay. I got to win. All right. Thank you, guys. Yes, sir. Thank you. Oh, thank you.